Hello, Floss Tube. It's Dina. How are you? This is Sunday, and it is February the 5th, and it's a Super Bowl Sunday. So, our family is getting ready to have a Super Bowl dinner of good Southern traditional Super Bowl food, barbecue sandwiches and coleslaw and Brunswick stew and all the fixings. So I think we'll have a great time and we'll watch the Super Bowl together. Our son is here with us to do that, and we're excited about that. So before all the festivities begin, I thought I would show you my latest whip. And I've been working on Firefly fairies. Here's my picture. Figure out where I put it. This is what it's supposed to look like when it's finished, and I will insert a picture here to show you where it was the last time I stopped working on it, which has been a little while now. And then I'll pause the camera and turn the camera around and show you where it is today. Be right back. Okay, here's my Firefly fairies up close. I didn't take it off the scroll frame because I didn't want to move it quite yet. I'm not finished with this section, but I'll kind of show you what I worked on. I did a little bit more in this area of the dress, just a couple of threads in there to finish off things that I had parked. And then I decided to come on across here and start at the highest point that had not been done, which was right up in here in this dress. Now you'll notice there are some empty spaces there. Those are right up in here, right around the edge of the dress. Those are for beads, and I haven't done those yet. So that's one reason I don't want to move this. And there's some back stitching that I need to do right in here before I move it. Otherwise, I'm ready to start working down across this section of my picture. So as you can see, I finished, completely finished the green. And now I am ready to move on across in this purpley blue beautiful dress here and finish out over here in the red. I'm sorry for having to pause the video there for a second, but I had a little bit of a sneezing fit. Anyway, this fabric that I have here is from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, and it has a sparkle in it. If you can see it, I think you can. I'll tilt the camera a little bit to see the sparkles. But because of that being such a beautiful hand dyed with sparkles already in it, I did not do the bleaching for this little effect here. But I like it. I like it the way it is, and I'm very happy with how it's turning out. I have learned a little bit about why I have not been enjoying working on this piece in the recent past. And I think it was for two reasons. One, this is a linen and the threads are uneven, and it is making my stitches go wonky in here when you have a thin thread, so much thinner than the thread next to it. And that has caused me a little consternation of trying to get my X's to look as if they are uniform. So that has been a little frustrating to me. And the second thing I realized is that while I'm going along, as I am beading up in these dresses like this, and then coming in to finish in the back stitching, that was a big mistake. It's very hard to see around a bead into where the X's should be. So I have to remember to finish all of the back stitching as I did right here in my new section. Over here, I did all the back stitching before I do any beading. And that way I can still bead as I go. It just has to be that last step. But learning that, I think doing this section without any beads until the very end right here has been a great improvement. And I think if I get all of the cross stitching done, I can make sure those X's are as beautiful as possible and then take up any slack with the beading. So I think I have figured out how to fall back in love with this piece, and you may get to see a little more progress on it from now on. It is one of my year of WIP pieces, so I should be working on it throughout the rotation. But this was 3 days worth of work, and I'm really proud that I finished that entire petticoat and her shoes. So now I can move on over and start working here and work my way back this direction. So I hope you have a wonderful Super Bowl Sunday, and I hope you get lots of stitching done in the coming week, and I'll share my next WIP with you when I'm ready to change it out. Happy stitching, everyone. Bye-bye. Hello, Floss Tube. This is Dina. I'm back for another segment of my WIP update. This is Tuesday, February the 7th, and it is time for me to rotate to a new piece. And so I wanted to stop and take a moment to go ahead and tell you about the one that I just finished. Working on, not finished. That would be nice. The one I've been working on the last 3 days was For Freedoms, and this is a Little House Needleworks, and doing this to put next to my tree ornament for July 4th, and looking forward to doing that this year for the first time. So I'll show you now where I've gotten to, made a bit of progress. If I have a picture of where I stopped, I will insert that here. I'm bad about not taking a starting picture because I've just shown it on my video, so I don't think about that. So here's my progress of where I am today. Bless her heart, she doesn't have a head yet. When I stopped last time, I had the top border, the two little suns up here, or stars, and I had part of the house done. So now the house is almost finished. Can you tell? It's just barely short on one side. Ran out of thread. Anyway, so went on across with the ground and did the little heel, and then moved on into both of the flowers, got those done, and moved upward and did the dress. So now I'm ready for the apron and her face and her little flag, and then that whole section will be finished once I get the thread in for the house. This is a classic Colorworks Blue Corn is what I ran out of. And I went back and looked at the package. This was when I bought it when I was on retreat last November. And I looked back at it to see if it had indicated that I would need more than one skein of any of these. And it doesn't indicate multiples of anything. So I picked up exactly what was indicated, and I'm pretty stingy with my floss. So I don't know what happened. But anyway, I have to order a skein of floss, and I'm doing Stitch from Stash, so it's going to come out of my budget. But that's okay. I have room for that, so that'll be all right. So that one I'm putting away today, and I'll be picking up my next WIP and starting on that. So I just wanted to give you an idea of how far I had come with it, and that I'm ready to move on to the next one today. So I hope you're having a great day. I have decided that for the rest of the month I will do the remaining little snippets of my WIP update and put them up together at the end. And in the meantime, whatever I had recorded previously, I will add on to when I do my winner for the anniversary drawing on the 14th. That's coming up next week. And I will put that together with a couple of things and go ahead and post that so you don't have to wait long to see who wins, and I can get that piece out. So I will share one piece of personal news with you. I got a text last night from my friend who I made the Beach Babies for. And I've been pretty sneaky because she watches my channel. And in our conversations and text, she mentioned when she saw that picture for the first time, that she thought that must be for a mutual friend of ours who had just moved away, because I mentioned that my friend had moved away. And of course, she assumed it was for our mutual friend that we have. He just moved to Alabama. And I let her assume that. And that way, she watched me do her picture. She just didn't know it was for her. So last night, I got a text from her and a picture. And she had put this Beach Babies on the wall in their main room downstairs in their condo. And her husband took a picture of her standing next to it. And her message said, "It was for me. It was for me the whole time." It was great. She actually shared with me that she had been quite jealous of thinking that someone else was going to get that picture. So I think she thoroughly enjoyed it. I think she likes it. And the fact that it's already up on the wall is a pretty good indication that it's got a place of honor in their home. I couldn't be happier. So Sandy, I love you, girl. And I hope you enjoy it for many, many years. So that's all I have for this little section. And until I've worked on another whip and have more to show you, I will bid you farewell and wish you very happy stitching. Bye. Hello, this is Dina, and welcome to my Floss Tube channel, Half Stitch Cross Stitch. I had a request from one of my subscribers, Sarah Richards, who asked me if I would take a little time to share with you how I do my rotation. It has evolved over the last year, and it has changed from having 4 whips and doing them each a week, a month, into something a little more exciting. And I guess she had noticed a change in what I was doing, or maybe she was just looking for some suggestions or ideas to think about herself. But either way, Sarah, thank you for the question and the suggestion that I share that with you guys. And that's what I'm about to do here. So I'll tell you quickly what I do, and then I'll kind of walk you through doing it so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But what I start with is my list of whips, and I keep them on a board behind me, right up here. And in a moment, I'll pause the camera and I'll give you a really good close-up of that board and tell you everything about it. But on that little dry erase board up there, I keep my whips, my year of whips, listed separately so I can make sure when I'm working on them. And when I finish them, I check them off. And then I've also got up there my year-long sales, and every month I update it with the monthly sales for that month. Right now, February's are up there. And that is just a quick reference guide for me. And I'll show you in a minute how that looks and why it's a reference for me. And then I take a planner. I right now am using a Happy Planner, I think is the brand name of it. But it's a month at a glance planner, and I'm going to share that with you as well and show you how I pencil in my rotation. And the emphasis is on penciling it in because anything is subject to change. So let's go through the process just briefly. The first step that I do in setting up my rotation every month, and I do set it up every month because I like the idea that I'm going to look at the month as a whole and break it down and plan it out based on what's happening that month. And it's always fresh that way. I don't say I'm always going to do this week for this or this week for that. I like to rotate when my whips come up so that I'm not in the same routine. They don't come up in the same order every month. So I like I like doing it over every month, and that's because I'm a planner. I enjoy that. If you don't, you could set this up, and the only thing you would do each month is decide what sales you wanted to do, and you could just make that the only thing you change. So it could work for you too if you like a more permanent situation. So the first thing I do every month is I look and make sure, do I have any gifts I'm working on? Right now, I am, for the first time ever, I'm not working on any gifts. I'm working on things for my home, or for, things we're going to use for our family here at the house. But that'll change, as I start thinking about Christmas, as I think about people's birthday in the coming year, I'll have gifts. And so I will then adapt my schedule. But when I look at the gifts, what I'm looking for is how much time do I have to make it? How much time do I think it's going to take realistically? I always think that it's going to take less time than it does, so I know that. And I add in a couple of weeks longer, than I think it may take. And I'm getting better at judging that now that I've been stitching a lot more. Based on how long it's going to take and how much time I have, that determines how often in a month I have to work on that gift. How many days in that month I'm going to give that gift. And if there are a lot of days in the month, I may want to break it up. I don't necessarily want to do it all at the same time. So am I going to work on it 1 week out of the month? Or am I going to work on it several days a week, every other week? Or, just what would make it work for me? And that's the first thing I have to look at, because that takes up the most important part of the time, because a gift is time sensitive and you need to get it ready by the time that you want to give it. The second thing I look at are my sals. Now, sals come in two colors for me. They're either year-long sals that you're going to work on all year long, so you have a lot more time, or they're a sal that is a date-specific sal, such as the Facebook groups put out challenges and sals. And I'll look through them every month. I'll look through them when they put them out for the whole year, and I get an idea of what I think I'm going to do. But then every month I go back and look and make sure nothing new is there, or that I haven't started something for some reason that would fit a sal where I didn't think I had a whip that would fit that sal before. My one fast rule is that I work sals on pieces that I have already going or that I had already planned on starting. So I try not to start anything new. For me, I don't start anything new just for a sal unless it's something I was going to start anyway, or I wanted an excuse to start it, that kind of thing. But I try not to pick sals that I don't have something I can work on already in my stash or already in my plans. I do that so I don't get overwhelmed, because I'm at 8 whips right now, and that seems to be about the maximum I like to carry. Then I will look at those sal dates that are date specific, and I put my whips that I'm going to work for that sal on my calendar on those days. And if it's a 1-day sal, then I may pick a day ahead of it and a day behind it, or 2 behind it, however it's going to fit in my month. I will put that piece there. And then the last thing I do is I look at the rest of my whips that haven't been assigned for a sal, and I just look and think, okay, when did I work on them last? And I try to put the one that I've worked on the furthest away closer to the beginning of the month. The time that I don't do that is when I'm working on a piece, a project at the end of one month, and it's going really well, and I'm not ready to put it down. Then I will put that one at the front of the next month, because I'm working on my plans at the end of the month for next month. And I can say, oh, I'd rather just keep doing this one. I want to do this one first so I can get another 2 or 3 days in on this one. So that's what I do. It's very fluid. It just kind of flows that pattern. And that's the pattern that has evolved. That is what I've come up with over the course of last year. So I'm going to pause you right now and I'm going to walk you through what I've just described for you. I think it's easier to see it than to hear it. And I won't belabor it. I just want to show you everything that I use. It's just my dry erase board for your visual cue. And then most of my work is actually done in my planner, and I'll share that with you. So I'm going to pause you and then I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Here is my board that I mentioned, my dry erase board, and I'm just going to let you see it, full so you know what all is there, and then we'll go back up here to the top. Okay, these are my year-long sales that I'm participating in. This won't change unless I add to it. But you can see there my 12 Days of Christmas from Stitch Mania. It was a small sale, but now there's a year-round Christmas sale, and I'm using that 12 Days of Christmas. Then you've got the memorabilia sales, the holiday sales from Cross Stitch and Discuss, and it goes on down. Okay, next, I go through those Facebook groups and I pick up the sales that are date sensitive. Sorry if I'm shaking here, I'm holding the camera. Here are the February sales that I'm adding to my year-long sales. And you can see I've even written out there like 2/15. The sale is from Stitch Mania, and it's an amethyst sale. You stitch on something with the amethyst color in it, and I'm going to use my Bewitched. And then on 2/17 from Stitch from Stash, we have the color purple sale. Well, Bewitched is purple, so that fits for both of those. And I'm using that one piece from the 15th through the 17th to meet both sales. So that'll be my rotation on that piece this month. Then on 2/26, it's the Finish Line ABC sale that they've continued from last year. And I will continue work on my children's garden at that time because it has the ABCs on it. And I will work around that date for my rotation on that piece. I mentioned a while ago that I have a list of my whips and that I have my year of whips listed separately. There are the 10 year of whips I started with. You can see I've finished 4 of them now. And so I have remaining Firefly Fairy, Sleeping Beauty, Smoky Mountain Christmas and Children's Garden, Bewitching, and the Nativity. And my 2 I've added since then are up here, 12 Days of Christmas and 4 Freedoms. So this is the information that I use to create my plan for February. So I'll pause you now so I don't make you sick, rolling you around the room, and I'll show you the calendar. Okay, here's my calendar. This is my planner for February 2017. First, I'll show you this under Notes. Zoom in a little bit where you can see it. Under my Notes section, I list the additional sales that I'm working on just for that month so that I have them handy as I'm working on my calendar. Next, you'll notice if I go to this date of 2/15, there's the Stitch Mania Amethyst sale with Bewitched. And here you can see I've put my Bewitched 15th, 16th, and 17th. And there's the color purple sale from Stitch from Stash. And I'm using Bewitched. So that's how I placed that one. Now let's look at Children's Garden. It's around the 26th. So I worked here and I put it on the 26th first. And then as I fill in my rotation, I choose between the days before, which in this case they fell before. And now I've got 3 days on that one. I should say my rotation right now with 8 whips is about 3 days each. So that once I have all of these sals filled in, then I just know I need to make sure the rest of my whips are in place. Now, this is one of those situations where Firefly Fairies was my oldest whip that I hadn't touched. I had not worked on it since the month before, and it had been a while since I had touched it. So it became my first one to work on. And yes, I had a dentist appointment that day. I put those things here too because that impacts my stitching time. So here's Firefly Fairies, which I abbreviate FF. And here's where I picked the winner from Past the Stash and uploaded that video. So congratulations to that winner. That's gone out in the mail. Then I have 4 Freedoms coming up on the 4th. And it goes on to have that address there on the 5th and the 6th. And if you'll notice, there's a big Super Bowl there. I did 4 Freedoms because it was one I felt I could work on if I wanted to while the family was watching the football game. Then after those 3 days, I have my Mirabilia Sal and a Facebook group with Terry Montgomery for Mirabilia, Mini Mirabilia. And so my Sleeping Beauty is my current Mirabilia whip. So to get this monthly sal in, I picked Sleeping Beauty next. And I have got Sleeping Beauty SB for 3 days. Then I have a weekend here, and we're going to go to a birthday party, and so I know I'm not going to get a whole lot of stitching that night, but I will have some time the 10th and 11th. So I'm putting in one of my new projects for this year, which is to create some patriotic ornaments, and I can usually get them done in a couple of days. So I pick a 2-day time frame in the month, and I go ahead and I pencil that in and say I'd like to do it this weekend. When I move back over here, you see I pick up my Teresa Winslow Nativity. And on the 14th is when I promised that I would select the winner for my anniversary giveaway. Here is the Bewitched that I showed you earlier for that end of the week. And then when I get to the last line there, you see I've got Smoky Mountain Christmas, and that is for 2 sals, the Christmas All Year Round and the Holiday Sal. Now the reason I'm writing these sals on the calendar with my piece is to remind me to upload a picture to those sal groups so that I'm reporting on my progress. It's just a reminder for me. So there's the 3 days on Smoky Mountain Christmas, and then it changes to 12 days. 12 days is going to be what I work on for my magazine sal this month if it's not my patriotic piece. I had always can fall back on the 12 days of Christmas for my magazine sal because it is out of a magazine. So I'm working on my 12 days through the 23rd. And then around that 26th comes Children's Garden. So I have filled that in through the 26th. And then this is a very important piece here at the very end. There are only 28 days in February. So on the 28th is when I should shoot my final video for the month and give my progress for the month. And you'll notice that I have on the 27th, focus on a finish. So for every month, I try to leave one of the last days of the month for me to have a little extra time to stitch on something that may be close enough that I could finish. If I haven't finished my patriotic ornament, I would definitely want to do that. If I've got my one of my whips close enough that just with a little extra effort, I might could finish it, then I would work on it for that day to give it extra time to push it toward the finish. But that's basically it. That's my planner. That's my rotation. Hello, good morning, and happy Valentine's Day to you guys. I am about ready to do the Floss Tube anniversary giveaway drawing with my random number generator here on my iPad. So I just wanted to say how excited I was that so many of you were willing to share with me how often you watch Floss Tube, which for almost all of us is as often as possible. And for many of us, it is daily. So I'm glad to know I'm not alone in that. I had 122 people share their experiences with me about their FlossTube watching and whether or not they've ever met anyone that they've seen on FlossTube or have talked to in the Facebook groups. And for those of us who haven't met other people, the desire to do that is there. So I think it's a wonderful way for us to make new friends, and I'm very, very grateful to have it as a part of my life, and I hope you are too. So I will have to pause the camera to turn it around so I don't make you seasick, and I'll let you watch as we do the random number generator to select the winner. Hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, we're ready. Here's the random number generator. We're going to hit generate. And look back, here we are, number 50. Number 50 is Mary Jo Molding. Mary Jo, congratulations. So excited for you. Here's the list to show. Mary Jo Molding, number 50. Mary Jo, I have here that you have an email address I can get in touch with you. So I think that is awesome. And I will be contacting you and letting you know about your win today, and looking forward to that very much. So everybody, have a happy Valentine's Day, and thank you all for sharing your viewing habits with me for FlossTube. I appreciate it so much, and especially appreciate those of you who have subscribed and watch my channel. You're all so supportive, and I thank you so very much. Congratulations, Mary Jo. Happy Valentine's. Bye-bye.